Hey everyone, it's been a busy couple of weeks, but I finally got the chance to do something other than my weekly Kickstarter video on the main channel. You see, a couple of weeks ago, I watched the Robbie Williams documentary, Better Man. Then I ended up going to a convention and having a bunch of other stuff to take care of, so I haven't been able to record a video on my thoughts, which I really want to do. Considering that the last time I did one of these videos, I did it on Megalopolis, and that video didn't do very well, I figured the perfect way to attract more people to watch this content is to do a gimmick where I wear a monkey mask for the entire video. I do have my glasses under the mask, which you can kind of see, and then it looks actually genuinely unnerving on the camera, but that's where we're at currently. There's like couple of things I want to talk about if we're talking about this movie. And you know, if you're not interested in some or any of it, I'll probably put all chapters in the video. I want to talk about, you know, I want to talk about how the internet and especially the United States in this instance has been treating this movie and Robbie Williams as a whole, and how you know it's kind of bombing. I want to talk about the movie, you know, overall. How would I rate it? How would I like it in the little second part, and then talk about little details which might be considered more spoilerish at the very end for those who either don't want to watch the movie at all or have already seen it. Although apparently there's not that many of you. There have been, of course, times you see on the internet when a movie comes out and the entire internet sort of comes together to clown on it for one reason or another. Whether or not they've seen the movie or not. Pretty much, you saw it pretty much with the entire DC cinematic universe thing, where every time a new movie came out, it was universally agreed, of course, that it was ass, and then that it deserved the mockery. You know, Morbius, Craven, Madame Web. Whatever came out, people, you know, somewhat rightfully, considering the reviews that those movies actually got, and how people that had seen that movie were talking about them, obviously they kind of deserved to be a bit lambasted, and it is ridiculous that those movies were made in the first place. And even in the case of Megalopolis, even if I did enjoy the movie, I understand that I am in the minority of the people who saw that movie that actually thoroughly enjoyed it, and also that there are not just, like, subjective reasons to say that movie is bad. There, honest to God, are objective reasons that Megalopolis just isn't that good, to say the least. Which is honestly pretty rare, I would say. In cinema, most of the time you can be like, oh, it's art, it's subjective. No, even though I liked it, it's kind of objectively very silly at the best of times. But this whole Robbie Williams thing is quite interesting because, despite how much clowning on the movie I've seen on the internet, I am yet to see, like, a scathing review of it. I'm yet to see someone who has seen it and hated the movie. The most I've seen are people who are saying, yeah, you know, it's like, standard biopic affair, and it's not that interesting from that aspect. But at the same time, here are a couple of, like, really great things that this movie does that other biopics obviously don't. Like the monkey thing. And so the lambasting and the mockery sort of just focuses on this one singular line and one singular joke that gets repeated over and over and over again, and that is the "who the hell is Robbie Williams" bit. And I have encountered maybe one person who earnestly asked that question, but it's still, like, annoying me a little bit because I had heard it as a mocking question so many times before. Now, that's not to say you can't just not know who the hell this guy is. There is a good reason for that if you live in the United States, because this guy was massive in the UK, he was pretty big in Europe for a while. I mean, I live in Latvia, I was aware of him, I knew of his music, my mom was aware of him and knew of his music, despite the fact that, you know, she's not aware of many cultural affairs in the world. And recently, I believe Robbie Williams, like, overtook the Beatles in the UK in terms of record sales. This guy's always constantly selling out concerts, he is a huge goddamn deal. He is one of the most successful record artists of all time, globally as well. But, at the same time, yeah, he kind of flopped in the United States. Nobody cared for him in the United States. He barely broke any of the charts, and he didn't have any kind of lasting impacts on them. And here's the thing, if this was any other country, if this was any other market, you'd be like, okay, these people just kind of don't care, they're maybe not gonna go see the movie, and maybe it will be a flop. But it is ridiculous to what extent Americans have kind of just championed being unaware of who this guy is, thinking that's somehow unique or interesting or funny, when there's like literally one funny meme that's come out of it, and that is this one. That's what the monkey is for. That's kind of what I'm doing also in this video. It's that bit. And the most annoying part to me about it is kind of how you will see these discussions about, why would I go see this? I don't know who this guy is. I don't care. It's like the reviews don't matter because I don't know who the guy is, despite the, stream of reviews saying you basically don't really need to know who the guy is. The movie's just good. Oh, it's ridiculous how they put so much money and effort into a movie about a guy that nobody knows about, which again, that's false. It's just that very few people in the U.S. know about him. But it's insane that that's the case, and that it's not tied to anything that people are aware of. And what that kind of is, in the vein of saying, is why would anyone ever invest money in some kind of original IP? And this is coming from the same people who will then turn around and constantly complain that, Hollywood and the movie industry is nothing but remakes and sequels, and they always have to tie into something like Marvel or whatever. It's just kind of annoying.
Also, a small point that I forgot to mention because I was preoccupied by having a monkey on my face. Just because you or I are unaware of a particular artist out there in the world somewhere, doesn't mean that artist can't be absolutely massive. That is obviously not the case. Just because I can't name you a Bad Bunny song, because Bad Bunny makes music for an audience that I'm not a part of, and belongs to this world of music that I know nothing about, doesn't mean Bad Bunny isn't obviously one of the biggest artists in the world. That's just silly.
I think the people behind this movie took a risk, and it might not pay out financially in the end, but I do think it genuinely worked very well artistically, and I think it is a very good movie. But I'm done rambling about the Americans now. They have their own stuff to deal with at this point. We're going to be talking about the actual quality of the film now. And the overall thing I want to say is I think this movie kicks a lot of ass. I think it was very funny. It was very exhilarating. It was a very interesting way to display this, Robbie Williams story. Which is, in and of its own, just an interesting story. I think it's more, more tuned for being shown on a big screen than something like, I don't know, Elvis or Bohemian Rhapsody or something. There's a lot of this, things that this movie utilizes very well. It utilizes the music very well, and there's some fantastic musical sequences in this. The rock DJ scene with Take That near the beginning is just a very fun music video, essentially. And then later on, something like Angels or Better Man is used phenomenally to make the viewer cry their goddamn eyes out. Another thing that's utilized very well is the fact that, this is a biopic about Robbie Williams, and Robbie Williams is alive and can, actually chime in and talk about things, and quite importantly, admit and depict how much of an asshat he is and was. The fact that Robbie is still alive and can still, consider all these things and give us all these little intimate details about his personal emotions, how he was dealing with different things in his aspects of his life, and how he has, and the fact that he has gone out of his way to fix a lot of these relationships somewhat to sort of move things along in a better direction in his life, that allows for this movie to not just be a biopic focused largely on the career. The career that you see, again, he's like the biggest artist in the UK, and at the time he certainly was, and yet the career aspect of it is sort of just something that's happening in the background. It's something that's pushing him constantly to go further and further, to consume more drugs, to mess up his life further, to fall deeper into this depression and despair. But that's not the focus of the movie, and that's sort of what I think makes this very watchable if you have no idea who this guy is, and if you don't care at all about his career, about his music. It's just a really intense and intimate, personal story. He was asked what kind of animal he would be, and whatever he would say initially, the ultimate answer was, he's a goddamn ape. He's always been a goddamn ape, and that's kind of almost always been how he sees himself, and how he acts throughout the movie, which, is how he acted throughout his life. And that is the third thing that this movie utilizes very, very well, and that is the monkey. The animation, the CGI is very well done. At no point is it uncanny. This movie didn't have the smallest budget in the world, but I still think they did a really, really great job with this CGI effect. There are multiple versions of the monkey, alluding to that depict different eras in Robbie's career, and even specific music videos, which I will actually discuss a little bit more in the spoiler part. And there are so many fine little details in regards to how this character is animated. One of the first little character moments you see is him eating chips with his grandma, watching a Frank Sinatra performance, and there's a little thing he does that apparently, people in that part of England, lower class people in that part of England do, which is he licks off the... I can't... Imagine my tongue is, coming out... Oh. He licks off the flavoring from his chips before eating them, which is, something they didn't have to do, but they did do it, because it's both something to utilizing the character a little bit, and showing just a little quirk that is true to Robbie Williams himself. But there was a point during his first discussion with Take That, which I don't feel like a spoiler because it's, again, very early on in the movie, where he suggests something, gets shot down, and people, and is mocked, and he... laughs audaciously at it, just like, oh, I'm laughing with you guys. At which point I leaned over to my partner and whispered, hey, remember why monkeys bare their teeth? And this sort of happens several times in the movie, where the fact that it is a monkey we're looking at, it is a chimp we're looking at, is utilized very effectively through means like that, through actually having him act animalistically. I think the movie is very worth watching, and I'm not even going to give that many spoilers away. I think it's just a very, very well-made, well-put-together, well-acted, emotional movie. It made me cry on 3 different occasions. It made me add Robbie Williams songs to my playlist, which did not think that would ever happen in my life. But there's only one scene that I will actually, I've kind of changed my mind on spoilers. There's only one scene I want to spoil, in a way. If you don't think you want to see this movie, you don't care for this movie, this is my go at suggesting that you maybe do want to see this movie, because it's goddamn insane. And that is a scene where, obviously Robbie Williams is in his prime. He's doing his biggest performance ever, the concert with over 160,000 attendees that got immediately sold out. It's the huge, at the time, the biggest achievement any musician had achieved in the UK. And throughout the movie, you see his different versions of him as sort of his inner demons, commenting on, criticizing him, and harassing him from the audience. And in this version, in this concert rather, you see a version of the monkey without its skin, which is the version of Robbie Williams from his Rock DJ music video. And during the concert, how he's metaphorically, he's fighting his inner demons. They turn that into a real goddamn, epic battle between apes, and the skinless monkey gets decapitated with a broadsword. It's goddamn dope.
Oh my god, my face is... In conclusion, I would say this movie is just, again, really good, worth a watch. So, funny monkey. It's a really, really ballsy move to advertise how you are basically then making a crowdfunding platform and doing it on Kickstarter. I actually genuinely don't know if there are any rules against this. I kind of assume there aren't, and you're kind of free to do that. But it's just a really funny idea to be like,